E3 2019 has started just as Pro Jared's career has ended, and as such is an opening for me to take his mantle in reviewing the different E3 press conferences going on this year. Not that I want to take Pro Jared's mantle of anything in particular, but you know what, I've wanted to do this for quite a while and review the different E3 press conferences, and I figured this might be a fun thing to do this year since I haven't had the time or effort to put into it over the past couple of years. So I'm going to change up my schedule for the next couple of days, maybe a week or so. I'm not sure if I'll do more than one of these per day since they take quite a while to do, but I'm going to be reviewing all the different E3 press conferences, hopefully in not too long of a video for each of them. It might go a bit long for some of them, but I'm going to go over exactly what they showed off in a brief summary and review the presentation, the commentators, and basically the quality of the reveals and trailers that they showed. I am no games journalist, I'm no games specialist. I'm just doing this for fun because I love games, so don't expect me to know too much about the exact release dates of certain things or to know too many details about the specific people they show and things like that. I'm just going to talk about what looks cool, and that's all that I really know. So this show was hosted by a guy called Greg Miller, primarily, and poor guy, he looked like he was trying so hard throughout this EA play, and I could tell, like, he was trying really hard to be charismatic, to be outgoing and stuff, but Twitter hated him, apparently. And to be fair, he could be a little bit overbearing, you know. He was a little bit loud, a little bit obnoxious sometimes. And he knows it. He mentioned it before, but I don't think the presentators were the best in this. I don't think the presentation was the best. In fact, not to mince words, I think that EA's presentation was pretty awful this year. Worse than the past couple of years. For those who don't know, EA is not doing a regular press conference this year. Instead, they're doing live-streamed events called EA Play, and basically their EA Play event, which just finished, was about 3 hours long. And I sat through the whole thing, nearly falling asleep multiple times in it, but it was 3 hours long, divided into sections based off the specific games they're showing this year. And none of those games were surprises either, because they revealed their whole schedule for their EA Play event ahead of time, along with the time to check out the specific games, with the idea being, whatever games you're interested in, you could stay just for that segment. Now, as someone who wants to review all of the press conferences and these types of things, I couldn't just stay for one game. I had to sit through the whole 3 hours, so that, of course, made me not have a great opinion of this show. But let's just start off with the very beginning, where they gave a little introduction with the countdown to EA Play. Once again, they reiterated the schedule for the games that were going on in there. They had some transitions that were pretty nice. They were a little bit cringy in some of the jokes that they make, and like I said, Greg Miller was a little bit overbearing sometimes, and all that type of stuff, but they quickly went through that and went into the first game, which I thought was a very strong start, Jedi Fallen Order, the new Star Wars game by EA. And they've revealed this game before, it's not a new reveal, however, they did start off strong with a full-on, like 15 minutes or so, game of raw gameplay. It was in-game footage, straight up, playing through a little story, and it showed the main character, who I believe his name is Cal, fighting through different Sith members, some stormtroopers and stuff like that. I'm not very knowledgeable about Star Wars, I don't know much about the universe, so I apologize if I make any mistakes about this stuff. But it showed the basic story going on, at least in that section, which they were on Kashyyyk, which is the Wookiee planet, and the Sith were or the Empire, I should say, the Empire, was trying to siphon off that planet for its resources and take advantage of things there. But needless to say, there's wildlife there fighting back against them, the Wookiees were fighting back against them, and Cal, the main character, and his group were fighting them too, kind of sneakily, kind of sneaking through, taking out enemies along the way. It's what you would think of for an action-adventure RPG type game. It reminded me a little bit of Uncharted, actually, a mix between that and like Titanfall type, like there's wall running, which reminded me a bit of Titanfall. There's lots of climbing. You could use force powers to interact with the environment. For example, there's one point where he pulled a vine off of a tree and then used it to swing. And there's another time where he busted through a metal gate that was sort of, it looked like you could bust through it with force push. And of course, force pull and push are well-known stuff, but there's a new force power in here, which I believe is called force slow, which allowed you to force on something and it would make them move almost in slow motion. For example, one time they used force slow on an enemy who was shooting at them, which slowed down him and the bullet he shot, and then they used force pull to pull him towards you, and he pulled the guy faster than the bullet was moving because it was force slowed. So it's a pretty cool mechanic, and you can use force slow for platforming too, such as stopping a moving platform so you could climb on it, or stopping a fan blade so you can go through without getting chopped up. So it looks like they're using the force powers in the actual environment quite well, I'll have to say. And I like the exploration that they have going on there and the lore stuff, because Cal has his own robot called BD-1, which is an explorer droid. I think it stands for Body Droid 1. And basically that robot allows you to have an augmented reality sort of map that you take with you. He heals you whenever you need to use a stim pack. And also it allows you to scan different objects in the story or in the world that give you background and lore about that thing, which is pretty cool. I don't want to go into too much detail about everything about the game. You can look at the full gameplay that they showed off. It's on the, I saw it on the IGN YouTube channel. It's posted there if you want to look at it. But overall, I think the game looks pretty cool, and I think it's the highlight of the event just because it has all that raw gameplay going on. As for some negatives about that game though, I think the graphics could be improved. It's still in alpha phase right now, it says, so it's going to be worked on quite a lot. But more than anything, I think the models, the character models, are not looking that great, especially the Wookiee. If you take a look at the Wookiee, which I'm not really going to show it here, I'm not going to edit this too much, but the Wookiee model is not that great. It just looks off, a little bit uncanny. So hopefully they work on that type of stuff. The combat looks pretty cool, but it does look like it might be a bit clunky. So this is the type of stuff that need to be determined through people playing the game, seeing when reviews come out and what people think about it. It looks, for the most part, alright. You're using a lightsaber, deflecting bullets, parrying, dodging, using force powers, pulling people towards you and stabbing them. But it looks like it could be improved a little bit more. I was also disappointed that you didn't see any flying limbs or blood anywhere. Like, you'd slash people with a lightsaber, and they just have red marks across them. Like, no blood or anything, like a laser mark across them, and they die. Or you'd slice, like, straight through their head or something like that. And I was like, will their head come off? That'd be pretty cool. But no, you don't lose limbs, you don't lose the head. It's just a laser beam and then they fall over and ragdoll. Kind of disappointing. But you know what? It's alright. It overall looks like a pretty cool game and what you would expect from a single-player action game. And speaking of single-player action, funny thing, whenever they started off talking about the game and they mentioned it's a single-player action-adventure game, they're like, it's not dead! And everyone was cheering. And I'm just thinking here, weren't you the guys who were trying to kill the single-player action-adventure game? Weren't you the ones who tried to make Star Wars into just an online pay-to-win game? Don't take the high ground here, pun intended. Anyway, after that they had a short little intermission, which they do between all of the game reveals here, and went on to Apex Legends. And this was such a boring presentation. Like, I'm sorry. I feel like all of this stuff could have just been shown off in a couple trailers real quick, and maybe a quick 1 to 2 minute interview about what's going on here, what it's about. And then people could figure out what the specifics once they play the game, you know? Not have 15 to 30 minutes of talk about random stuff. Like, it was really boring. But to go over the content they had, at the very least, they had the Legendary Hunt event trailer, which was already revealed. This wasn't even new content, really. Though I don't know exactly how much of it was revealed before, so I'll go over it again. It has the Apex Elite queue that they're adding, which is a new sort of... It's like Elite Smash in Smash Bros, where if you rank in the top 5 in a game, you can join the Elite queue, and then that's for the more skilled players to work their way up the leaderboard and unlock new things. And there's new skins and all that type of stuff, and a double XP weekend from June 7th to 9th, new Battle Pass items. And then they moved on to Season 2, where they talked about how new content is coming in Season 2 called Battle Charge, which will have a new legend, weapon, way to play, a map event, and they're going to change balance and buff weak weapons and bring some other new stuff, etc., etc. The new weapon was the L-Star EMG, which is an LMG. I don't know why it says EMG, but I guess it's because it uses experimental ammo. It's found in a supply crate, and it has limited ammo. You can't reload it, so it's a really powerful weapon that you can only use a small amount. They talked about the Season 2 Battle Pass, which will now be based off of daily and weekly challenges, kind of like Fortnite, that stack if you don't get on. So if you get on after a while, you can do all of them at once and rank up very quickly. It's apparently much easier to get to level 100, and you can get a lot more skins, and by the time you hit 100, you can definitely craft a legendary of your choosing with the medal that you get, and there's 4 new legendary skins you can get in it. There's a new ranked mode, which has 6 tiers, and you can work your way up that. And there's also a new legend called Watson, which is Watson, like an electric watt, because she is an electrician, basically, an electrical engineer. She was someone who kind of worked on the electric barrier in the Apex Legends arena, and now she's fighting using electricity as her special abilities. She can make walls of electricity that allow you to make a barrier for enemies not to pass through, and if they do go through it, it'll alert your entire team that they were there and ping them. And I assume deal damage? I don't know exactly what else it does. But apparently it makes it so it's harder for your enemy to get to your team and lets you make defensive barriers. And you can also place an electric pylon, which recharges your team's shield in the area and also intercepts things. It's called an interception pylon, so it'll intercept things like grenades and bombardments and stuff like that. And it'll also supercharge Watson so she can place a lot more fences and make a fortress, basically. So it's good for defense, and she's very much a support character. And finally, at the very end, there was a quick little teaser video, which was not gameplay. It was sort of an artistic teaser showing off some of the new map changes, because they're finally doing some changes to the map, which is a big complaint people had from the Season 1 stuff. So they didn't reveal exactly what it was, but they teased it with a giant, what I thought was like a dragon thing. Like it took up the whole screen, so you couldn't see anything except one big dragon reptilian looking eye. Going like, And they say that'll be something in King's Canyon, so that'll be the big change of the map in the next season. And that was it for the Apex Legends stuff. So it was really drawn out, really sort of boring stuff, you know. Like, I feel like the reviews were alright for people who are still playing Apex Legends, which is not me. I played it back when it was first released, but I don't really have a reason to go back to it right now. But I feel like they could have formatted this a lot better. Moving on, we have Battlefield 5, which, from what I hear, people were pretty happy with the Battlefield 5 updates going on here. They're talking about the new maps and details and updates that they're adding, starting with Marita, which is an infantry-focused map, which is what people have been asking for, apparently. Apparently, a lot of people play Battlefield 5, which I don't own, by the way, so I don't know much about the community. But I think a lot of people have been wanting more close combat, infantry-based maps where you can get up and close with people rather than just having a big open field. And that's what Marita is doing. It's a small mountainous village controlled by the Allies. Your goal is to defend the village from Axis forces, and it's for close-range battles. So it's a pretty cool-looking map for people who are into it. And they also revealed Al Sundan, a new map in the North African desert, which is a big open barren environment, typical of what you'd think of with Battlefield, with large-scale battles, ground and aerial vehicles, camps, radio towers, and an airbase. And it's being added in July, whereas Marita is coming in August, I believe. Keep in mind, I got some of this info I didn't quite catch the first time, and I had to look up some stuff online, so if it's wrong, it'll be around that time anyway. You know, around the summer, fall, that type of stuff. Next, they talked about Chapter 4, which is coming later on this year, where they'll have more focus on tighter infantry combat, close-range maps once again, with the two maps that they revealed right now being Province and Lofoten Islands, which once again are for intimate infantry combat coming in August. They also have a new feature that they're working on for private games, so I'm assuming this means games with your friends and just private lobbies, coming in September, and a new map called Operation Underground, which is apparently a passion project type map that has like a train system and that type of stuff, coming in October. They're also increasing your career rank to rank 500, whereas previously just 50, I believe, so that's a big increase. And finally, and this is what the people were really excited about, they had a little trailer for Chapter 5 coming in fall 2019, which adds 2 new factions, which people seem to be hyped for, US and Japan. And it's going to talk about the Pacific Theater once again, which, of course, Pearl Harbor, that type of area, that type of thing. They're going to have new boats and water-based vehicles, and 3 new maps before 2020, including Iwo Jima, 7 new weapons, and new gadgets and things like that. And it was mostly a cinematic trailer, like it wasn't gameplay, it was concept art for the most part. So that was the Battlefield 5 presentation. I think that the Battlefield 5 presentation was alright. I think it was alright. I think it had good details about the plan for future updates of Battlefield 5. And I think that people who are into that game should be pretty pleased with the updates they got here. And after these 3 games, I think that's basically the high point for this presentation, which isn't saying much. Let me be completely clear. Throughout all of this stuff, there's like lots of cringy jokes going on, lots of different presentators coming on and commentators talking about things I don't really care about and that most people don't care about. Most people just want the gameplay, okay? Most people just want you to show off a quick trailer, show off some gameplay. I feel like this whole presentation was really drawn out, and it continues here in FIFA 20. And this is where we get to the usual EA stuff. The sports games that they reveal every single year. FIFA 20, and right after FIFA 20, it was Madden NFL 20, but I'll get to that later. So, with FIFA 20, I won't go into too many of the details of the game. It's basically FIFA 19 updated with a new thing called Volta football, which is apparently a sort of street football where you can kick the ball off a wall and you do all sorts of tricks to kick it over your head and then try and score on your own and stuff like that. It's like tricksy street football that they're adding as a game mode. And they also updated 3 different things, which was on the ball with new attacking and defending tools, off the ball with new game flow to give players new time and space on the ball by changing how the AI works and how some of the moves work. And then they changed the ball itself for a new physics system. They changed some of the pacing and some skill moves and things like that. And they also gave some info on future deep dives into specific features of FIFA. To me, like, I don't know what to say about FIFA. The people who buy FIFA are going to get FIFA. It's never really exciting. It's just the same thing as every single year with some slight tweaks and changes. The graphics don't even look that much better, if at all. They look basically the same every year at this point, so yeah, if you like FIFA, there's FIFA. That's how EA gets most of their money nowadays, so, you know, why not, right? In between the next part, they talked about a little charity they're doing, which is Play to Give, which looked pretty nice. And then for some reason, they pulled up Trevor Noah for an interview because he plays a lot of FIFA. Why? Oh man, this is why I don't like these big company presentations, stuff like that. Like, you don't need to pull up these late night talk show hosts to relate to us, man. I mean, come on. I just want to see games, not celebrities, okay? It just felt a little bit off for me. But after that, we had our first and only real surprise of the presentation. Anthem was there. Who would have guessed? They were so scared to show off Anthem here that they didn't put Anthem in their schedule for EA Play. And when they pulled up Anthem, it was only one guy, Ben Irving, the lead producer, who showed up. And they just did a really brief interview, just like 1 or 2 minutes, and that was it for Anthem's presence at EA Play. To be honest, I feel kind of sorry for the guy. I'm sure he was just getting destroyed on Twitter and in the comments on the stream and stuff like that. I didn't watch it live. I watched it after the stream was done, which is why this video is coming out a little bit late. I was busy and I am having stomach issues today. It's still hurting right now. So if I'm ever delayed in getting these videos out, it's because my stomach hurts. But all he said was, we're listening to play feedback. We got a public test server available now on PC. Cataclysm is available now. That's it. Buy the game. Look forward to improvements, you know. Don't buy the game. Well, if you want to buy the game, feel free to buy the game, but I wouldn't recommend it right now. And after Anthem, they went to Madden NFL 20, which is the most boring part of this whole show. Yeah, it's such a slog. Oh man, Madden NFL 20, like, it was so boring that they organized it into a checklist and just went down the line. It's like, face of the franchise, Patrick Mahomes, scenario engine, playbooks, ultimate missions, stuff like that. And it's like, okay, so it's Madden NFL 19, but with a 2 to replace the 1 and a 0 to replace the 9. There you have it. And it was so long. It was like 30 minutes long. I don't know why this presentation was so long for Madden NFL. Like, I'll completely admit, like, I would give more details on the updates they're adding here. I skipped through it. Like, I just, like, I was almost falling asleep in it. I just skipped forward using the arrow keys and just, like, yeah, so if you care about Madden, you're gonna get the game anyway. I don't need to give you the details on that stuff. And finally, they went into Sims 4. You know that game that released in 2014 that they're still updating with DLC? Well, that's what they're doing here once again with the new Island Living expansion, which basically takes your Sims to live on an island resort with all sorts of other Sims and locals there. There's new accessories, all sorts of chill things to do on the island. You can do some beach jobs, you can become a conservationist, you can fish and dive and swim and canoe and build sandcastles and meet mermaids, apparently. I mean, Sims 4 already has tons of DLC, so why not add more, am I right? Why not update a 5-year-old game keep on adding it. Instead of making Sims 5, just keep on adding the Sims 4. Why not? And they're also, speaking of adding the Sims 4, they're adding the Sims 4 Moschino Stuff Pack. If you didn't hear me because my voice cracked, Moschino Stuff Pack. And Moschino is apparently some luxury brand or something like that, where it's going to add some clothes and a career, which is freelance fashion photographer, to show off that clothes in the game. And they also they revealed the next pack very briefly, which was Realm of Magic, which is coming in the fall, which would definitely be a magic-based thing. Pack. Whatever, I don't even know. I don't play The Sims 4. Needless to say, I'm not the biggest fan of EA's stuff. In fact, I don't own a single game on this except for Apex Legends. And saying that I don't own a single game on this should, like, say something, because, like, half the games on this EA Play were games that were already released. And the other games that they revealed, like 2 of them were stuff they reveal every year, Madden NFL and also FIFA. And only, I believe, only Jedi Fallen Order is really an exciting new game. That's the only exciting thing on there, and they reveal that ahead of time. Like, I'll admit, I like the gameplay they showed for Fallen Order, but the other stuff didn't have that much gameplay, other than maybe like FIFA and Madden and stuff like that, but that gameplay of those games is always the same anyway, and even the graphics on both of them don't look that great. It wasn't a good show, needless to say. In fact, I think it was really a bad show. And I understand that this is a different type of show. It's not a press conference. It's not as fast-paced. It's meant to be a thing you tune in for just what you want to see. But if you're watching it as a whole, straight through, and not Jedi Fallen Order, I'm pretty sure most people dropped off after Fallen Order, to be honest. But if you're watching it all the way through, it's a bad show, especially compared to the past couple of years where they had at least some cool reveals over the past couple of years. Like, I believe last year they at least had things like... Last year they announced Fallen Order, I believe. They talked about Anthem once again, which people didn't know would be bad back then. And they also revealed Unravel 2 and the Sea of Solitude and some other cool stuff. And the year before that, they revealed things like... I believe they revealed Anthem the year before that. And they also revealed Battlefront 2, or at least talked about Battlefront 2. And they had A Way Out and stuff like that, which was a pretty cool co-op game. Like, this year was nothing new, because they revealed everything ahead of time. Nothing that exciting other than Fallen Order. But even that... Like, there's many action-adventure games like it, so we're just kind of going to have to see the quality of that game once it comes out. Needless to say, I don't think EA won this year's E3. In fact, if I were to give them a score similar to Pro Jared's rating scheme, just a grade rating, I would give it this one a D-. I'm not going to give it an F, because it could always be worse. There's always room to be worse. If it's this bad next year, I would give it an F, though. Like, this is my first time. I want to give room to grow or room to go down, you know? I don't want to give Fs right away. But I don't think this was a good show at all. And I'm sure... Well, I won't say I'm sure. I hope future shows from Nintendo and Microsoft, not Sony, they won't be there this year, but the other companies will be better than this one. And I'm sure they will be. Almost sure. Hoping they will be. One final comment. I just want to say... The true MVP of this entire press conference was that random guy with the Asuna body pillow at the end. You're the man here. You made this show what it is, and thank you for being there, dude.